Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farhan Dogar. Viewers, today we are going to continue the discussion where we left. Yesterday, if you remember, we were also talking about controversies. We were talking about media's role as well. Today, it is important that we talk about media's role because one new controversy arose a couple of days ago. Then what our media does is it goes mad, keeps on attacking Pakistani leaders no matter what. And, the heat keeps on growing. And at the same time, something happens in the neighborhood as well. Indian media starts helping in undermining Pakistan. And they are so free these days that if yesterday you have seen what happened to Palestinians, you know, that report and the pictures of kids and people killed in broad daylight was carried even in Israeli papers. But if you go to Indian websites, wall to wall, you will find you won't find a single mention of that atrocity. This is how free India's media is. And when Indian media starts acting rabidly the way it does, usually our media takes the wrong inspiration and so once again starts attacking own country, own state, own leaders, own people. So should there be some mechanism to identify what is right and what is wrong in the media? How responsible media can be attained? Can the state of Pakistan work with the media, where media sensitizes the state about its sensitivities or its concerns, and the state itself comes back and addresses and also sensitizes the press as well. This is very important in these days because now the world seems to be a funny place. We seem to be living in a global post-truth society. In the past, we thought that we were entitled to our views, but not to facts. Now, every person feels compelled or convinced that they are entitled to their own facts as well. Same reality, different interpretations, and those interpretations being reported not as opinion, but as reality. In such a situation, what should Pakistan do? How to reconcile the national interest with the freedom of expression, and where to know that it doesn't start attacking any person's civil liberties in his individuality. For example, everybody should have the right to say whatever they want to, but how to actually portray it? Then recently, because the incident took place, and in that, the same reporter who has been castigated in the past once again gained access to the former Prime Minister, and he reported whatever he reported. It reminded me of the difficulty we had last time when we had this issue called the so-called Dawn leaks. In those days, I remember that his name was being placed on ECL. And people like us kept on fighting for him that at least he shouldn't be put through that kind of difficulty. So what happens when a journalist becomes too adventurous and doesn't care what happens to him and then to his own community because of the chaos and the crisis that is generated? We are going to talk about all these matters, and in order to help us understand these issues, we are joined by a mixed panel where we will have representation of the legal community as well as the journalists. The first guest that I have in the studio is Imtiaz Warriach, senior advocate, has appeared in this program in the past as well. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Next to him is Nasir Jafary, sir. Nasir Jafary, sir, is a senior journalist and has been there. I mean, many people call me senior, and when I look at his career, I realize that I have only begun my career. Thank you very much, Nasir Jafary, sir. Thank you very much for your time. And then we have a young voice, an investigative journalist, Zahid Gishkori, who is quite adept at finding the truth out of the chaos. And we are going to have him discussing the media's responsibilities as well. Thank you very much, Zahid Gishkori, for your time. Imtiaz, I have to start with you. we have seen that media acts and often acts irresponsibly, and it attacks people, it sullies their names. And whenever we talk about it, we are told that the person who is affected has recourse to law, and that is the libel laws. Do you think our libel laws are strong enough to deter any abuse of power by the media?
Actually, first of all, I'm grateful for giving me the opportunity to discuss this very important issue. Actually, we should not blame only media exactly, because if we see our whole society, the tolerance level is not of that level. Maybe because of many reasons, you see the social reasons, economical reasons, people are not tolerating anything, and they immediately try to assert, you see, whatever they have in their mind, and they become sentimental on that. So media is also part of that society. So we should first of all keep media people as part of this society. And
no, I get your point. My humble submission is, if I'm intolerant, I'm a citizen, I don't reach your and his living rooms every day. Media, because it is a force multiplier, if it does something wrong, it affects everybody. And if it doesn't have proof and starts accusing people, then it can have very lasting and damaging consequences.
I believe that nobody has right to interfere in the affairs of everyone, you see. And there should be some type of limitations, and there's some code of ethics and these other things. And especially in present scenario in Pakistan, we have many media houses now, and more than 100 TV channels or news channels are going and airing their, you see, telecasts. So there's a dire need of, you see, some type of code of ethics for them, and PEMRA should come forward and try to help them to prepare.
I get that, and we are going to talk about the code of conduct as well, because we have 2-3 code of conducts, but perhaps we need more.
Need of implementation.
But here's the thing. Here's live television. You are a media man. I'm a guest. You sit on television and accuse me of being a mole of, say, Indian or American agencies. You say that you accuse me without any evidence that I accept money from, for example, yesterday it happened. Yeah. One senior journalist, a columnist, actually appeared on television and started accusing Dawn of being CIA's front. And at that time, nobody had the guts, even the gentleman representing Dawn, to ask him, where's the proof? And he said, you know, himself said that I will provide proof, but there wasn't any. So what does the accused do to get relief?
Yeah, there is a law, and you see that we have seen recent in past about Dr. Shahid Masood case. You see that he accused on many things.
But it was contempt of court actually that actually brought him down, right?
No, but at the same time he claimed that he has proof for that.
And he said that he should be hanged.
Yes, but he could not produce those, you see, proofs. So laws there, law of libel is there, and everybody is protected, that his reputation should be protected, and nobody can accuse on him.
How strong are our defamation or libel laws?
Very strong, but there is need of, you see, one has to go to court and try to get relief under those laws.
Has anybody recently been given that kind of relief?
If somebody goes there seriously, because we have just practiced that, we serve.
This is hypothetical, right?
No.
There must be an example of some individual who did it.
No, let me complete. Actually, what we do, we serve notice of 10 million, 100 million, sometime like this.
Right.
Okay, withdraw your statement, otherwise we are going to file this sue. Sometimes sue are filed in the courts, but later on they don't, you see, persuade those sues, and because one has to actively follow and pursue.
But there must be one example where somebody got relief, right? Or otherwise there is something wrong with the law.
Actually, you see, there are two.
Off the top of your mind, can you remember one example where somebody was given relief?
I have no example in mind.
Right, and you are a lawyer, a senior lawyer. Let me go to Nasir Jafary sahab. Nasir Jafary sahab, we were also talking about a code of conduct. If you remember first, there was the problem of reporting regarding a crisis situation, a physical crisis. For example, a plane, crashes, and the reporters going there keep on showing bodies without any warning, and then there was this slight, compromise or promise by the media itself that they are going to avoid this and this thing, especially in case of accidents, terrorism, similar kind of physical crises. But we haven't seen the same kind of responsibility coming from media channels when it comes to political elite, when it comes to accusing people. Who's going to come up with that kind of a code of conduct?
I have been saying in many of our programs in the recent past that basically the problem started when we all actually indulged in this race of ratings. Okay.
Only
number one. No, I'm telling you reasons. And number two, the journalism that we are practicing in Pakistan these days is not the one that we had modeled way back in 50s or 60s. And
how would we know?
Because
we were born after that.
No, because the situation deteriorates when you just get, without any guidelines. There are no guidelines.
And then you have to rush it.
Yes,
right?
And number two,
there's no reaction time.
No reaction time, and number
oversight
three,
time either.
Basically, the role of seniors is very important in our media industry. And what I usually say is the institution of editor has been missing in Pakistan for quite a long time. We don't see any gray-haired people, senior people supervising activities or what is going on, how we have to report things.
Being a grey-haired person is a must to be an editor.
Because
I recently colored my hair.
No, you have, yes. When I say grey-haired people, I have in my mind people like late Nisar Usmani, people like Ahmad Ali Khan, people like Ahmad Hassan of Muslim newspaper, because these people used to guide your young reporters how they have to behave, how they have to write.
Submission is back in those days.
Because the charity begins at home.
The news cycle used to be of 24 hours. You will carry out a paper and then you'll wait for another 24 hours. Now it is not even up to, to half an hour or 20 minutes. You don't get any warning when you're sitting on television. And there was an agreement that there will be a delaying mechanism so that an anchor or a reporter, if he has or she has some faux pas, they can immediately edit it. But that didn't happen. We have seen that code of conducts are usually not agreed upon. When they are agreed upon, they are not implemented.
Pitafi, you learn these things with your experience. You learn these things with the passage of time. It's not that the problem that we are facing these days is that very young and inexperienced people start reporting, and they simply get excited.
Let me go to the young but experienced gentleman here. Zahid Gishkori, talking about code of conduct, talking about responsibility of media. What do you have to say?
Thank you, Farhan, for the opportunity. And this is very important right now. Pakistan politics in turmoil and the role of media, particularly Pakistani media, unfortunately buying the argument, the sensationalism and the wild conduct being conducted by Indian media, Pakistani media, otherwise impressed and influenced by the media, particularly on this very important news story we are discussing here. I thought that your program is Politics Today, and you might be asking that is the ruling party is on brink of vulture. You might be asking this question, but
hang on. The program is called Politics Today, and my definition of politics includes media as well. You have to remember that media houses have their own politics. Why is it that a ghee company eventually decides that it is going to open a media house? There must be power in it. Politics is related to power, and we are discussing raw power right now and abuse of raw power. So do you have any suggestions or ideas in mind how to implement some code of conduct?
yes, why not? I have, if I am not wrong here, that it's consecutively 7th program at your forum. We are discussing this debate. Even I'm lucky today that I have senior journalists like you and
I'm not a senior journalist. I'm just a journalist. Okay.
The important thing is right now we have 138 channels, 24/7.
Right.
And more than 48 news channels broadcasting news channels. And 3 more are coming.
Hardly any
in coming months.
Is a regional channel. There must be 4 or 5 regional channels in total.
In total, and around 50 in coming 2 months we are going to complete this one. And our PEMRA, the regulatory authority, has capacity to monitor 34 channels only.
Okay.
And how can it regulate it? Because we don't know
how
that
does it give licenses without regulating?
Discussing, let me to complete my argument. We were just giving live coverage from the grave of very popular person. It's a very surprising what's going on here, that we are keeping focus on quality, not quality, I'm sorry, on quantity journalism. Where is our editors? Where does our editorial policy stand? Do you have any editorial check on different televisions? What's going on? We are just unfortunately reporters holding mic in their hands and doing gatekeeping.
Here's the point, with due respect. Recently, the newspapers and media houses that have been subject to controversy, they have a very robust internal editorial mechanisms. For example, 2 channels, who have been who have faced music in the recent years. And honestly, ask anybody, if you are not associated with that group, ask anybody. They'll tell you that they kept on, doing wrong things as well. Somebody has to realize that it is not only because of the quality of journalists, it is because of the vested interest in the media as well. When are we going to address that concern?
Actually, you know that Farooq, around, so far I know that we have more than 24,000 journalists across the country working with hundreds of newspapers and now hundreds of channels as well. And yes, after 2007, we witnessed a revolution. Now the postgraduate, foreign graduate, and well-educated reporters and editors are entering into this field. And media also, no doubt, played very vital role to strengthen democracy in Pakistan after 2008, and then in 2013, and now the 2018 elections.
Even right now, you are talking about the quality of journalists. My question specifically goes back to what we call saints in politics or saint in media, the media owners. There has to be a code of conduct for them as well, right?
Yes, they have, but we don't see, we rarely see that they are going to just practice what exactly have been written in their code of conduct.
Right.
Many media houses even have been hijacked and different stories recently. What you are asking?
Okay.
Do you ask me that should I
and
speak my heart?
I'm going to talk about
Supreme
hijacking.
Court of Pakistan gave a very wonderful judgment on recently on Karachi Malir Development Authority issue.
It was
thousands of acre land has been given to one of well-known property tycoons worth 1.
He's talking about Bahria town and Malik Riaz's judgment.
Rupees.
Yeah.
5.5, which is equal to Pakistan annual budget.
I know. And nobody reported it, right? Hardly,
Except
only
Dawn.
one group. Only
Social
one group.
media reported it.
Yeah.
We don't know that either they are going to implement this judgment or not even. But
that is a crucial concern, and you have addressed the point already. Let me go to Imtiaz Badai Sahab. Imtiaz Sahab, he was just talking about PEMRA, which has given license to almost 50 channels, news channels, and doesn't have monitoring mechanism beyond 34. And yet we keep on doing the same thing. It is like a gift that keeps on giving. What is wrong with us?
Actually, you see that whenever we take this type of steps and we don't have that type of capacity, because this is primary responsibility of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Before granting a license, they should have.
Should PEMRA be under Information Ministry?
Already they are under.
Recently they moved under Information Ministry, but should a regulator be under influence of a ministry?
About this fact, let me tell you a little bit, because these are all regulators like SECP, like PEMRA, like NEPRA. If you see the constitution of their policy boards, you will see more than almost 50% of government people sitting there.
Right.
Government secretaries and these type of very important secretaries. So
no, but secretaries are not partisan, are they?
No, they are not partisan.
Politicians are partisan.
No, but they are not partisan. But they are members of their policy boards. And every policy or every act which is done by that regulator is approved by policy board.
Okay.
So in other way, I must say that they are not independent.
Okay.
Because they are being dictated by the government through policy board members.
Okay.
And policy board members are majority, even IPO Pakistan.
So who should be there?
I guess that more representation should be given to public and the people in the business,
Okay.
So
the people, if you remember, 2 years ago, actually 4 years ago, we had this crisis where Jio and Bol had a tiff. And then Hamid Mir Sahab was attacked, and after that, all hell broke loose. At that time, there was a coup within, PEMRA, and it got divided. And we had to actually see who is talking about what, right? They were fighting each other. That means that in this country, even if a common man sits somewhere, if somebody comes from any other segment of society, they are prone to the similar kind of pressures, are they not?
No, but that's good. But if I'm just explaining that we are giving impression that these are independent, regulators. So I have defined that those are not that much independent as we are.
No, but they are supposed to be, right?
However,
so should they be under Information Ministry, or SCCP, should it be under the Finance Ministry?
But practically they are under, I tell you.
Yeah, they are.
Because all the commissioners are appointed by Ministry of Finance.
No, hang on. I get your point. My question is, should they be?
Should not be.
Right.
Should not be.
So,
because if they are under ministry or under government, are being run by the majority of the government officials, in the form of members of policy boards, there's no fun to create regulator, I tell you.
Okay.
Then it's better that ministry should regulate directly.
Right.
Because all the policies are being approved by policy board, which has wide majority of
Will it work if the policy board members are parliamentarians from all parties?
No, that will be good formation, I guess.
Right.
Because
or at least the institution is answerable to the standing committee rather than anything else.
Of course. Okay. Of course.
That's a good point. But Nasir, Jafary Sahab, you were talking about ratings and how they have spoiled everything. There is another problem here as well. At this moment, when you talk about rating and you talk about people meter, it is actually a monopoly. There's only one rating agency. It is called Media Logic, and you don't have any other, company that is offering the similar kind of services. The reason it is there, and it is a monopoly, is that there is a union of owners. It is called Pakistan Broadcasters Association, and they have this control that they say that they are going to only rely on one agency. when that rating agency is a monopoly, it might be prone to any kind of exploitation or neglect. For example, only until recently, it had people meters only in 4 or 5 cities, major cities. Karachi, it had more. So if you talk more about Karachi, people will watch, you will have more ratings. But if you talk about Quetta, hardly any ratings. Who's going to correct that, sir?
Well, as I was saying that this is one of the major problem that is eroding our credibility as journalists.
Okay, here's another question. Do you watch television yourself as well?
Yes, I do watch.
Okay, you watch talk shows too, है ना?
Yes.
Okay. Of all the people that you like to hear on television, how much time will you give to Sheikh Rashid if he appears on television?
Well, Sheikh, as far as Sheikh Rashid is concerned, I mean, apart from his, apart from the lack of seriousness in his attitude, but I think he has gradually improved.
But here's the problem. He has limitation of vocabulary, judo, karate, this, that kind of language. In opinion also, he doesn't have that much to offer. It becomes very difficult for a person like me to sit in front of television and watch him for an hour. But whenever he appears on television, he gets some of the best ratings. So either there is something wrong with our taste, or with the society, or with the rating system.
Well, I would...
And he was the man, when he was information minister, he allowed cross-media ownership. Since then, media has made him a martyr, a hero of everything. So do you get what I'm saying here, sir?
I can understand what you are saying. Basically, people enjoy the kind of predictions, political predictions that
but if you're talking about people, then you would have too many fortune tellers sitting on television channels every day. Doesn't happen. Then you will have too many spooks, for that matter. Former spooks sitting on television. You don't see that either. There is something going on here, and nobody is asking the right questions. We create so much fuss about media, about honesty, about responsibility, about national interest. We hardly put in the kind of effort or work that is needed to define the contours of those issues.
This is what I am saying, that...
no, you're justifying watching Sheikh Rashid.
No, I'm not justifying. I was just telling you because people enjoy the way he predict things, and number two, why we are not actually doing a very healthy journalism as far as our electronic media is concerned, is that people come to television screens without doing any homework, and they actually start speaking on different issues and try to pose themselves being an authority on the subject. So this is the problem.
No, that might be the problem. But there is the economy of rewards and punishments, right? If you go astray on television screen, I'll switch a channel, right? I'll switch to something else. If you say something that is enticing or entertaining or informing, I will keep on watching, right? The humble submission is people who seem to be getting ratings actually promote a very specific kind of attitude or worldview. And I have given you one example. People keep on complaining or suggesting that somehow some aliens from Mars or space keep on controlling everything. But we miss such a big tier of power. PBA is very powerful. PBA and then media logic is very powerful. And I don't hear a single businessman offering or saying that we are going to launch another rating company that is going to give you at least other numbers separate from this and might actually be representing the villagers as well, far-flung areas, Balochistan, Waziristan for that matter as well?
You see, the problem is that we in Pakistani media actually are very fond of coining new terms and then fashionizing them. You still remember in 90s there was a very famous term used in Pakistani print media, that was troika.
Okay.
Troika meets.
Yeah.
And now then you had this another.
It is actually not coinage, it is borrowing from other countries.
But we basically love to use these terms. And then there was another term, AAA.
Okay.
You must be remember.
Allah, American Army, right?
Allah, American Army. And,
okay,
and
I get that. I get your point.
So basically, we just get entangled in such stupid things.
Sir, with due respect, and Zahid Gishkori, this is my point earlier as well. Even while talking about Kashmir, we have been talking about Kashmir for 70 years. We haven't been able to create one institute of Kashmiri studies, right? In this country, we don't write books on Kashmir. We don't write, create that kind of literature or research that is needed or is quotable internationally. That actually reflects on our lack of imagination. And here lies a test that there is a very strong, very powerful body of media owners sitting together. And nobody asks, why are you only relying on one, rating agency? Why are you not asking other companies to actually be part of the process? There should be at least presentation, some competition. Monopolies are never good for the society, are they?
Look, Farooq.
50 plus channels, one rating agency.
I understood your question basically. Let me add very important and vital component of direct-to-home technology. Supreme Court of Pakistan finally gave its order last week, and this is the only solution to
DTH.
Yes, because it will culminate, end up the monopoly of rating meters. We have only 1,700 rating meters, mostly in Karachi. 5 cities are being only included this, and the issue is. What's going on, guys, when we discuss here that media and all TV channels are giving live coverage to rain from Karachi? What's happening? Is this real our job is?
Yeah, but honestly,
what's going on in Loralai?
You honestly think DTH is going to become a reality?
We should at least highlight and give voice to the voiceless people.
Yeah, I agree with you. But how old is the idea that Pakistan should have a DTH service? At least 9-year-old, right?
Yes.
When initially there were 3 companies which were, including this one, which were offered that they can actually set up their own DTH program and all that. But that didn't happen. Then we kept on talking about it. Recently we saw bidding as well. Even that was stalled because cable operators that needed to be assured by the finance minister that they are not going to launch it during the previous or previous to previous year. It doesn't become reality, sir. And
it would become reality after 1.5 years. I trust you because recently the final judgment came out, and this is the only solution to produce quality journalism, to produce just a fair rating, because you know that right now 122 current affair programs are being produced in 24 hours on 47 news channels in Pakistan. Even most of the time, the top 10 channels even don't have to explore new guests because here the retired brigadier, the doctors are discussing climate issues.
Okay.
Is this not a shame for us as a journalist?
No, hang on. Do you have objection to retired brigadiers discussing anything?
No, I'm just giving example as a journalist. If
as a people, we should be inclusive of all people, right?
A couple of examples. I as a journalist, I keep focus on national security or on politics. Why should I discuss climate change or weather issues or the medicine or the health related issues? We should at least introduce experts. Right. Because if there is a legal matter, we have a panelist of advocates, lawyers who can discuss Constitution of Pakistan.
Right.
But the issue is because
But
we have such mushroomings, we are not serious to produce productive debate on very important
Here's
issues.
another question. Thank you very much for actually talking about experts. I recently read a book. Its title is End of Expertise. But regardless of that, recently there was another observation / judgment coming from Islamabad High Court regarding Ramzan Sharif transmission. And in that, the Honorable Justice actually also observed that only PhD scholars should be sitting on television talking about religion. No one else should be allowed to do it. And I was commenting in another program, I said that we don't have that many scholars who are broadcast quality, right? That is a concern as well. But what happens if I want to talk about media owners? What happens when I want to talk about Bahria town for that matter?
Farooq,
how would you ensure
that you are letting me at least at this forum to talk about this very important thing?
Right.
Even on private national TV channels, I don't think so that they are going to openly at least debate this very important issue. Let me to complete this argument.
Yeah, please.
The issue is that big money just running all media affairs in corporate sector in Pakistan. They have all the authority to control the journalists, what exactly they want to push, agenda, policy, narratives they want to give to the people just to promote their own business. This is very unfortunate. And it should be eliminated, but we can't do that. The issue is that if you are a big money...
Who can't do that?
If
the state of Pakistan?
No, overall in media
Pakistan.
industry,
Okay.
the media owners, they would not do that because they mostly now, by and large, around 80% media owners have their own businesses.
Right.
They want to, they don't want to destroy
I
their
understand
business.
when a media owner...
They want to protect them, but listen.
When a media owner runs it like a business...
Because you question me that...
no, but hang on, with due respect, sir. When a media owner...
No,
Gishkori
you are supposed to complete my argument.
No, but you are not finishing the point, no, sir, with due respect.
I'm going to that
Let me ask another.
Supreme Court of Pakistan gave historic ruling on Karachi, in Karachi on Malir land authority issue. The
and
land
Islamabad
is more
as well.
Than
And Islamabad.
And Islamabad and Mari as well. On 11,000 canal land, precious land of the Sindh government worth 5.5 trillion rupees, which was given on throwaway prices.
Right.
Supreme Court declared it null and void, whole deal, and all the media was mum over this very important story.
Why?
Because, yes, why? My answer is 80% business came from this this very important media tycoon.
Okay, only 80% business, not
all
private cars.
These channels.
Listen to the question as well. Not the cars of anchors, not their houses, not their substantial amount of money coming to anchors or editors or reporters for that matter. That also happened, right?
This is something, that...
So who is going to actually hold people of that sort accountable, sir? For example, if I'm a reporter, if I'm an anchor, and I am driving something which is beyond my means, right? Who's going to come to me and ask, how did you obtain this car? How are you living in 8-acre home when you earn a measly amount of money?
Yeah, we have laws here. We have NAB ordinance, which also, you see, address this issue as well. Because if somebody is living beyond his means, he can be asked from where he has got this car, from where he has got this bungalow, and from where he has got other resources, you see.
Yeah, but NAB doesn't ask those questions. No. Now that I've pointed out, they'll come to my home, but they won't go to the people that I know must be accepting some kind of bribe.
Because I have seen many, you see, emails, on social media, these type of postings, you see, where they have given the account numbers from their money was given to those people.
Yeah.
I don't know that is correct or not.
Yeah, first
because
it was denied, and then later on.
That requires investigation and you see thoroughly, probing of that.
NAB never went there.
So yeah, it should go.
No, but you realize what is happening these days? There is speculation in the media that whenever it is appointment of a chairman NAB, it is Malik Riaz who first goes to Mian Nawaz Sharif, then goes to Zardari Saab, and then whosoever comes out as the consensus candidate usually is his nominee.
Actually, you see that we can't say like this because being a lawyer.
No, I'm talking about speculation, sir.
No, yes. These are speculations. Right. There are so many speculations which goes in the air on social media as well.
Those cases.
NAB has to go only on those issues where they have concrete evidences, you see, and somebody, if come forward and
like Mian Nawaz Sharif sending $5 billion to India.
You see that that is an information which is you see they have got from some newspaper and this type of thing, and thereafter then they have tried to probe it, find it. But there's need of concrete evidence, you see.
They haven't given us anything.
So that is a flaw, and there you see they have further clarified it that we are only going to probe it. And
yeah, but the source they quoted, so even that source actually is distant.
So we have
distanced itself from the statement.
So we have to see if my friend Gishkori, he is again and again quoting about Warriach judgment.
Yeah.
You see, Warriach is in reality in Pakistan in this you see land business for the last, I guess, more than 18 years.
Okay.
And everybody was sitting silent. People invested there, huge money is invested by common people. The people who are overseas, they also invested here. Even at that time, nobody came forward. But now,
Zahid Gishkori might not be a 5-star reporter back then.
But he
was a young man.
Yeah, but
I might not be an anchor the kind of influence I have right now. I didn't have 20 years ago.
Yeah, but now
today, if somebody is raising this point, it should be addressed.
No, it's going to be addressed because the judgment of Supreme Court is very clear. They have given 3 types of, you see, number 1 in Karachi, the land was bought on very nominal rates from KDA.
So we don't have to go into the detail of that case. I mean, we can have another show discussing Warriach because nobody has the time or interest in discussing it on television. But with due respect, at this moment we are talking about their incursion into media. And we have seen an anchor sitting on television. There was a leaked footage in which he is saying that I am going to ask for a bungalow in Dubai. And then all of a sudden that anchor actually gets an aeroplane.
Yeah.
In Pakistan, where senior politicians don't have their own plane, this guy has it. So there is something to investigate here. The institutions don't do it.
I do agree with you, and I guess this program is being viewed if NAB authorities are viewing it or other investigation agencies are viewing it. They should take a serious note of that.
Everything, right?
With due respect, with my all seniors, that I want to add most important another element. Chief Justice of Pakistan ordered all bar association to get testified degrees of all lawyers across the country. I responded via tweet that why not journalists should also be included.
Yeah, I saw that tweet as well, that journalists, their degrees should be vetted, right? The problem is, when it comes to this system, your and my degrees will be checked thoroughly. But those anchors who might be sitting on television claiming to be authority or PhDs and who actually have fake degrees, but they have a lot of power, will never be checked. That's the problem. The system has to be applied for everybody. Sir, I have to actually bring in the third guest and then
just one sentence. Is there any requirement for a journalist to become a journalist? There's some need of degree? I don't think so.
Sir, with due respect that
because for it's a valid point.
Yes, very valid point.
You don't need
due respect that we have very vibrant media now.
No, but you need a
media
degree
as a 4th institution, pillar of the state. the issue is most
Zahid Gishkori, you don't need a degree to be a journalist.
People to speak on national media, they should be
Zahid
well
Gishkori,
educated.
It's not necessary.
You don't need a degree to be a journalist. In Pakistan, you need some degree.
We need
you have to listen to me as well.
Who are coming up
okay.
on television screen, sir.
No, this is
They
actually,
should teach well.
But you are not even listening to
this
me.
This is one of the main reasons for degradation of our
media
profession, because there is no compulsion or requirement of a degree that you should hold.
Jafary sahab, I can show you PhD scholars who haven't known civilization for years.
You might have...
respect, I have to conclude the program now, and we are going to talk about these matters later as well. For today, I have to thank you all. I was trying to find time for you when he kept on talking and he wouldn't listen.
He deprived me actually of my time.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Nasir, Jafary sahab, thank you very much for being here. Zahid Gishkori, thank you very much for your time as well, with your naughty and nutty interventions. Viewers, you have listened to our participants. There are very big questions in this country that need to be addressed. If we have to keep on beating about the bush, we can do that. But they are power centers which are so powerful, they are not even being taken into cognizance. They are not even being recognized as power centers. And they might actually be vitiating the quality of media and journalism in this country. If we are serious in fixing everything, then we should be talking about those powerful people who claim to be bigger than the state itself. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching us. Take care.